Welcome to the deep dive. Are you looking to inject some serious life into your Instagram engagement?
Yeah, finding ways to stand out is always the challenge.
Totally. So today we're unlocking the power of polls and quizzes, those little interactive stickers.
The ones that can actually turn passive scrollers into active participants.
Exactly. And hey, if you're also looking for a bit of a lift for your overall social media presence, maybe check out rapidboost.net.
Good tip.
So we've really dug into this article called Boosting Instagram Engagement with Polls and Quizzes.
Hmm.
And our mission today isn't just like understanding how these tools work.
No, it's about how to really use them effectively.
Right, to forge real connections and, crucially, get those valuable insights.
That's right. Think of them like miniature conversations. You can have them with your whole audience pretty much in real time.
Miniature conversations, I like that.
And Instagram itself, they've pointed out that a huge chunk of the most viewed stories, they come from businesses.
Wow, okay, so people are actually looking for this kind of content from brands.
It seems so. And what's really interesting is how these interactive bits, they just cut through the noise.
How so?
Well, instead of your content just being, passively consumed, it actually asks for a response,
Wow.
which dramatically increases how long people stick around and how, invested they become. It's a real shift from just broadcasting at people.
To actually having a dialogue.
Exactly. It becomes a two-way street.
Okay, so it's about getting people to tap, to engage. That makes sense on the surface, but what's the real payoff? Beyond just seeing those interaction numbers tick up.
Right, because numbers are one thing.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Think about each tap on a poll or each answer on a quiz. It's like a tiny vote of confidence
Okay.
in your content and Instagram's algorithm. It notices this stuff.
Ah, the algorithm, of course.
These interactions signal to the platform that your stories are, providing value,
Which means,
which can boost your organic reach. So your content gets seen by more people, maybe even people who don't actively follow you yet. It's a powerful cycle.
so it's not just the immediate interaction click, it actually has this ripple effect on visibility later on.
Precisely.
But you also mentioned invaluable insights. What kind of useful information can we really get from, what might seem like a silly little poll?
Don't underestimate them. Think of polls and quizzes like embedded microsurveys. They're right there in your audience's daily scroll.
Okay, microstories.
Yeah, and each tap, each answer gives you a direct data point. It reviews their immediate preferences, maybe their pain points, their interests.
And it feels less intrusive than sending out a big survey email.
Much less. It's organic. And this direct feedback loop, it can be absolute gold for figuring out your future content, maybe guiding product development, even refining your marketing messages so they really hit home.
Okay, we're sold on the why. They definitely matter. Now, the tricky part. How do we move beyond those, frankly, yawn-inducing yes-no polls? How do we create something that actually grabs attention and gives us those insights? The article talks about mastering the art of the question.
Yeah, this is key. This is where we shift from just using the sticker to strategically deploying it.
Okay.
The main thing is asking questions that are specific and personally relevant to your audience.
The examples.
So instead of a super generic, are you happy with your skin? Maybe try, what's your biggest frustration when trying to find the right moisturizer?
Much more specific.
Or instead of just, do you like coffee? Try something relatable. Like, would you rather skip your morning coffee or face a mountain of emails unprepared?
Haha. I know my answer to that one.
See? These types of questions, they invite genuine thought. They often reveal surprising little details about what your audience actually needs or wants.
Those examples immediately feel more engaging, definitely. Less of a reflex tap, more like a little moment of, actually.
Exactly.
The article also really emphasizes storytelling and context. How does weaving a narrative around a poll make it better?
Think of it like setting the stage before you ask the big question.
Okay.
Instead of just dropping a poll out of nowhere, give a little background. Explain why you're asking. Like, hey, I'm experimenting with a new recipe for our next baking video, and I really need your help deciding on the key ingredient. And then you put up the poll.
Gotcha. It gives people a reason to care.
Precisely. It creates this sense of shared purpose, makes your audience feel like their opinion actually matters, like it contributes to something. That feeling of being involved, it massively boosts participation.
And of course, in the crazy visual world of Instagram, our polls need to look good too, right? How do we
Yeah.
make them visually irresistible?
Oh, absolutely. Your polls need to feel like they belong with your brand's look and feel.
So consistent branding.
Yeah, use your brand colors, maybe add some playful, relevant GIFs. Make sure there's really strong contrast between the background image or video and the poll sticker itself.
Readability is key.
Totally. Crisp, easy to read text, even when people are scrolling fast. The goal is just to make it visually appealing enough that it stops the scroll and makes them want to tap.
And it's not just the background visuals, is it? The article says we should get creative with the answer options themselves. Ditch the boring yes, no.
Exactly. Inject some personality. Emojis are great for this, like, cossessed versus, still deciding. Adds a bit of fun.
Makes it more visual.
Right. Or you could theme the options to match the poll topic. If it's about weekend plans, maybe adventure awaits degrees versus cozy night and final.
Nice.
So this makes the interaction more enjoyable. And you might even get some subtle clues about your audience's general vibe from the choices they make.
Okay, so we've got strategies for crafting killer questions, making them look great. Now let's dig into the different types of polls and quizzes Instagram offers. The article highlights a few that seem to work really well. Let's start simple. The classic two-option poll.
Ah, yes, the workhorse. These are brilliant for quick, straightforward feedback.
Like what kind of feedback?
Well, the article rightly points out they're great for getting instant opinions on things like maybe product color options, preferred content topics, even settling funny little debates in your community.
Simple and direct.
Exactly. Their simplicity is their strength. Super easy for people to engage with quickly.
Then there are those slider polls, the ones with the emoji. I always find myself wanting to drag those. What's the magic there?
Well, the clever thing about the emoji slider is it taps into something a bit more nuanced, more emotional.
How so?
Instead of just a yes-no, a binary choice, you're asking people to show the degree to which they feel something.
Ah, like a scale.
Exactly. The example, how excited are you about this new feature? With, say, a hard eyes emoji slider. That gives you a much richer sense of sentiment than a simple yes ever could.
That makes sense. And for something maybe a bit more interactive, even educational, the quiz stickers. How can brands use those effectively?
Quizzes are great because they bring in gamifications, a bit of a challenge. Yeah. As the article suggests, they're fantastic for testing audience knowledge about your brand, sharing did you know type facts about your industry, or just creating fun trivia.
So different uses depending on the brand.
For sure. A travel brand could quiz followers on landmarks. An educational account could test understanding of a concept. A food blogger could do a guess the ingredient quiz. It's just a really good way to make learning or interacting feel fun.
Yeah, I can see how that adds a layer of active participation, more than just stating an opinion. What about Q&A polls? How do they build community?
So the beauty of Q&A polls is how they can spark deeper conversations.
How does that work?
You might start with an open-ended question using the actual question sticker, asking for thoughts or experiences.
Okay.
Then you could use a poll sticker as a follow-up to see common opinions or preferences that came out of that Q&A.
Ah, combining stickers.
Right. The article's example was great. What's your dream vacation spot?
Yeah.
Then follow up with a poll like, would you rather travel solo or with friends?
I see. You go from open discussion to specific preferences.
Exactly. It helps explore shared interests and builds that community feel.
And finally, the article mentions combining countdown stickers with polls or quizzes, maybe for event hype or launches. That sounds pretty smart.
Oh, definitely. If you're building buzz for, say, a product launch, a live event, even just a big piece of content,
Yeah.
layering a countdown sticker with a relevant poll or quiz, super effective.
Yeah.
For a product launch, you could ask, which feature are you most excited to try first?
Oh, nice.
It not only gets people excited, but also gives you valuable intel on what part of your launch is resonating most.
So it's clear there's more to these stickers than meets the eye. There's some psychology involved, right? The article talks about curiosity and FOMO, fear of missing out. How can we use those, ethically?
Yeah, ethically is the crucial word. You can definitely pique curiosity by maybe hinting at exclusive info or reveals that people might get if they interact.
Teasing content.
Sort of. And FOMO. Well, you can create a sense of urgency or exclusivity. Maybe mention results will only be shared for 24 hours, or participants get a small bonus, like a discount code hinted at.
Okay.
The goal is just to make it compelling, give people a reason to engage now without being manipulative.
And the gamification idea, turning things into mini games, sounds like a great way to make engagement feel less like, engagement and more like fun.
Exactly. Frame quizzes as challenges, maybe offer a small, fun reward, like a shout out for people who get all the answers right.
Taps into competitiveness.
Yeah, it taps into our natural competitive streak and our desire for a bit of recognition. That playful approach can really boost participation and make the interaction stick in people's minds.
And it sounds like closing the loop, sharing the results afterwards is really important for keeping people invested. Why is that?
Absolutely crucial. When you share the poll or quiz results, you're basically saying, hey, thanks for participating. Your input mattered.
Validation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It also acts as social proof. People see how others responded, which might encourage lurkers to join in next time. Plus, sharing insights you learned shows the value of their engagement and builds trust.
Okay, we've got the theory down, Pat. The article also gives a really practical step-by-step guide. Let's walk through those. Step 1. Strategize your aim. Why start with the why?
Because it's the foundation. Before you even think about the poll type or the question, you need to be crystal clear on your objective.
What's the goal?
Right. Are you doing quick market research, brainstorming content ideas, trying to drive traffic somewhere, or just building community vibes? Your aim dictates everything else.
Makes sense. Step 2. Craft thoughtful, on-brand questions. We touched on this, but what really makes a question on-brand?
It means your polls and quizzes should feel like they belong. They should echo your brand's voice, its personality, its visual style.
Consistency.
Total consistency. If your brand's funny, your polls should be funny. If you're more serious and informative, stick to that tone. It builds recognition and trust.
Step 3. Use Instagram's native tools. Seems obvious, but any hidden depths there?
Mostly it's about keeping it seamless for the user. People know how to use Instagram's built-in stickers. It lowers the barrier to entry.
The familiarity helps.
It does. Plus, Instagram often gives a little algorithmic nudge to content using its own features.
Good point. Step 4 highlights set up eye-catching visuals. Best practices here.
Well, the article wisely suggests maybe using templates for consistency. Pairing polls with short, snappy videos can work well.
Keep it clean.
Definitely avoid clutter. Make sure the poll sticker doesn't get lost. Leave some visual breathing room around it. Quality visuals are just non-negotiable for stopping that scroll.
Step 5. Respond and reshare. This feels like where that two-way dialogue really happens.
It absolutely is. Engaging with the responses is key. Show you're listening.
How?
Share interesting results back in your stories. Maybe respond to thoughtful answers via DM. You could even do follow-up polls based on what people said. It creates that feedback loop, encourages more interaction next time.
And the final step, 6. Analyze data and iterate. How do we actually use this data to get better?
Instagram Insights is your friend here. It gives you loads of data completion rates, how people voted, all sorts of stuff.
So check the stats.
Regularly. See what types of questions work best, which formats get the most taps. Use those insights to tweak your strategy, try new things, and just keep getting better at it.
The article had some great case studies, too. Let's talk about Glossier using polls for product innovation. What's the takeaway there?
Glossier is just brilliant at this. They use polls to pull their community right into the product development process.
Asking about shades, packaging.
Everything. And by doing that, they don't just get amazing market research. They create this incredible sense of co-creation, of ownership among your followers.
People feel involved.
Massively. The
Yeah.
fact they often get tens of thousands of responses, that just shows you how powerful that participatory approach is for building loyalty.
That sense of ownership must be huge. Okay, next example. A local fitness coach using quizzes. How did that work out in real terms?
This one shows how quizzes can be super strategic, not just fun. The coach shared weekly quizzes on nutrition, workout tips.
Positioning as an expert.
Exactly. And then they followed up with personalized DMs based on the quiz interactions to build trust, position them as a go-to resource.
And the results.
A reported 57% jump in story views, plus consistent leads for consultations. It shows how effective this can be for service businesses to nurture relationships and actually drive business.
Wow, okay. And the e-commerce jewelry brand using this or that polls before launching collections. That sounds super practical.
Totally practical by using simple preference polls, this design or that design, before launching new stuff.
They got intel.
Yep, valuable insights into which pieces were likely to be hits. This meant smarter decisions about how much stock to order, which designs to prioritize.
Leading to
Better stock management, faster sellouts. It's a really direct link between that interactive engagement and the actual bottom line.
So inspiring examples. But we also need to know what not to do. The article points out some common pitfalls. First one, over-polling. Is there such a thing as too much interaction?
Oh, definitely. If you bombard people with polls and quizzes constantly, they just get tired.
Huh?
Engagement fatigue is real.
People tune out.
Exactly. The article suggests using them strategically, maybe once or twice a week. That way, each interaction feels more meaningful, less like noise.
Makes sense. Another one, vague or boring questions. We kind of covered this, but why do these fall so flat?
Because they're lazy, basically. Questions that are too broad, don't feel relevant, or don't offer any entertainment or value. People just scroll right past.
Be specific.
Yeah, like the article's example. Instead of, how are you today? Ma, try something more specific and maybe a bit more fun. Like, what's the one thing getting you through Monday morning? Much better.
Ignoring the results also seems like a big mistake. If you ask, you should listen, right?
Absolutely fundamental. If you ignore the results, you're basically telling your audience their input doesn't matter.
Kills trust.
Completely. It erodes trust, makes people less likely to bother next time. You have to acknowledge the feedback, share insights, show you're acting on it if possible.
And finally, lack of visual appeal. Seems obvious, but easy to mess up.
It is. But even simple things help. High contrast backgrounds, maybe a relevant GIF. Make sure the text is super clear.
Use Instagram's tools.
Yeah, play around with the built-in creative tools and stories. Experiment with layouts, stickers, visual elements. Just make your polls easy and inviting to look at.
Okay, we have covered so much ground. Let's boil it down. Actionable takeaways people listening can use right away. The article gives a good summary. First, plan ahead. Why is planning so important?
Because it means your polls and quizzes aren't random. You integrate them into your content calendar, align them with your overall goals, launches, events, themes. It makes them feel intentional.
Right. Next, choose a purpose. Back to the why again. Crucial.
Always crucial. Having that clear, objective market research, brainstorming fun means you ask the right questions to get the info you need or drive the action you want. Purpose leads to better results.
Experiment with format. Why not just stick to the basic poll?
Because variety keeps things fresh. Trying sliders, quizzes, maybe chaining polls together.
Yeah.
It keeps your audience engaged. Plus, you learn what they actually enjoy interacting with most. Fights off that fatigue.
Remote participation. Smart ways to get more people tapping.
Just ask. Tell people you'll share the results. Offer shout-outs for great answers. Maybe hint at a little exclusive something for participants. Make it clear their input is wanted and valued.
And, of course, analyze and iterate, turning data into improvements.
Gotta look at those insights. See what worked, what didn't, where people dropped off. Use that info to refine your questions, your formats, your timing. Continuous improvement.
And finally, the big one, keep it human. Why does personality matter so much here?
Because people connect with people, not just logos. Use your brand's unique voice. Add humor if it fits. Actually respond to people. That human touch builds a real community and makes people feel connected beyond just the content.
So the big message here really is that Instagram polls and quizzes, they're way more than just fun little features.
Oh yeah, they're genuinely powerful tools. For engagement, sure, but also for understanding your audience deeply and building stronger brand connections.
It's about moving from just talking at people.
Exactly, to having a real dialogue. Every single tap, every answer is a chance to learn and build that relationship. It's much more meaningful than someone just scrolling past a static image.
And the best way to actually harness this potential is just start.
Pretty much. Don't be afraid to experiment. Start with simple polls. See what happens, see what resonates. You might be really surprised by the insights you get and the connection it builds.
Absolutely. Don't feel like you need to launch some super complex multi-stage quiz on day one.
No way. Start simple. Ask a straightforward question. Watch how people respond. Every interaction is a learning curve.
Fantastic advice. And maybe a final thought to leave people with. Consider this. How consistently asking and actually listening to your audience, even through something as simple as an Instagram poll, how that can fundamentally change things.
Yeah, not just your social media strategy.
Right. But maybe any area of your work or even life where understanding and connecting with other people is really the key to success.
That's a powerful thought. It all comes back to listening.
It really does. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.